Hello, everybody. If anybody's out there, anyhow, we got ourselves some more Summer Cup. It's gonna be more group stages. Week 3, I guess. Though I don't know if these games are actually from week 3 or not. They probably are, I think. Hornet actually stepping in for Martini is here. He can tell us, are these actually from week 3?
Hello everyone. I don't think they are. I think these might have all been matches that fell on week 2, I think.
Strictly
But
speaking, there are no week 3 matches. They
There
are
is no
completely
week.
unorganized.
Yes, there are. It's just matches.
There are just matches to be played,
Yes.
and they come in the order that they come in.
Yes, this is week 3 of the cast, I guess you can say.
yeah, it's also week 3 in the sense that they're new to us. We haven't seen them yet,
Yes.
so
Yep.
hopefully they'll be new to you as well.
Yes.
And
Also,
yeah,
Opie is here. If you could not
Hello.
recognize him, welcome. The, I guess the the tournament host. I guess you would say
I am the TO. So if you have any questions about the rules or tiebreakers, you can come ask me. Although I hope we won't need any of that today.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, I assume the tiebreaker stuff doesn't really matter until the end. I don't know what the stakes are for either of these players, but we shall see. That's. I mean, I guess I'll just show the not a draft real quick, which is just what Opie decided they should play. Which
No, everyone should play.
Yes, what everybody should play these same 6 venues, no doubles or anything like that, and surprisingly no ballroom. What's up with that?
I had to rig it so that ballroom would be in the bracket stage.
It's just all ballroom
obviously.
for the bracket stage.
Yeah, it's all ballroom for the bracket stage. So I couldn't, in good conscience, put ballroom also in the group stage. I guess there are actually a little bit of tiebreaker implications in this match, though, as this match is between Adafheyesh and Verdruss is our first one, and they are both undefeated in their group so far. But they're both already getting out of into the bracket stage. This is a match for first place. And where these tiebreakers come in is the fact that Adafheyesh has draw odds to get out of groups in first place. So because Adafheyesh won more games in their matches versus the other 2 players in the group, they have more game wins total if a draw does end up happening here. So Verdruss does need that 7-point victory to get out first in the group, while Adafheyesh only needs 6.
Okay, but I mean, so they seem like they're both likely getting out. Is that what you're saying? And
they're both
just
guaranteed.
a fight for a better seed.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, hey, any little advantage can help. We'll see them. I assume they'll be playing their hardest here.
Yeah.
I think we're ready to go. We got Teal/Mom. Just looking, just kind of hiding in the bushes right now a little bit.
That is the replay I have. Hornet, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
In that case, let's get it started in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right, so starting things off here, innocent drink in hand. Probably just gonna go ahead and finish that up and get some ST progress. Yeah, so kind of an interesting group here. I think originally it looked like a situation where everyone was kind of playing for, second, with Ada being kind of the strongest in the group by a pretty large margin. But yeah, actually a good chance with both being undefeated for Verdruss to maybe potentially take that top seed.
I mean, in a sense that we're talking about playing for a second, we assume that Adafheyesh is going to win all of their matches. But of course, now we are here at this match where we have Verdruss and Adafheyesh both at 2-0. And we come into the group assuming, Adafheyesh is the strongest player here, but upsets happen all the time in SpyParty, especially in these group stage matches. They are ripe for upsets just because of the random seeding. Everyone gets put in a group randomly with 3 other players, with no regard for previous result or perceived skill level. So that is the ripest opportunity for these kind of upsets. But we'll see if Verdruss can take it and make that happen this time, as Adafheyesh is, of course, very strong.
Yeah, pretty good start so far. Already 76% on the flirt. And yeah, speaking of playing for second, the reason I say that because as we know in SML recently, Ada took a very clear first in the Masters division. Verdruss quite a few divisions below, but I do think these players kind of do have some history playing each other, and that can kind of play in a factor to narrow the skill gap sometimes. And yeah, so going in to finish that flirt and get the inspect completion here is Adafheyesh.
Yeah, and the thing I'm looking for in this match is for Verdruss really to shut down Adafheyesh's spy, because Adafheyesh is one of the stronger spies that we have in the community. And obviously a very solid sniper. You don't get to where Adafheyesh is without being a solid sniper. Um, but I think in relative terms, the spy side is really what can show for Adafheyesh. Although right now we just kind of a pretty standard game. We are bailing on this contact immediately though.
Yeah, so it looks like there's been maybe about 4 statue visitors in total. We did just knock out our ST who had just made a second trip to the statue, so I think we're getting looked at pretty closely. As usually is the case on 407 Courtyard, what's that last mission going to be? We're going to be looked at closely, and yeah, very interested in what Adafheyesh's plan is, because actually already pretty quite low on time, and it looks like a wrong arm bug on the CC entry, and Verdruss is all over it.
Yeah, that was not the most inspired bug, I think, from Adafheyesh. Load time, you got to do something. This bug, though, like wrong arm bugs are not always the correct answer. In this case, I think you would have preferred to have the arm facing the ambassador, although I don't even know if that would have been enough, as this was very clearly kind of front and center for Verdruss, keeping a nice angle on that ambassador and the highlights who have been to the statue. So well done for Verdruss. A little bit of a more standard game from Adafheyesh. Got a little bit low on time and had to rush something. It didn't work out, but that is how Courtyard is sometimes. So
Yeah, overall, I mean, it felt like pretty solid game, pretty good pacing. I think maybe part of the issue is like there weren't that many other strong suspects for Verdruss to be focusing on. So, with the low time, with us getting tunneled on, pretty low likelihood to pull off that bug.
yep. I think personally, I thought there was some moment in there where Verdruss's rotations were a bit lax, and we might have gone for a cheese swap instead of that bug. But that is now in the past, as Verdruss is on the spy side playing as Kane. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, so pretty strong start from Verdruss. Yeah, I do recall both of these players, had actually fairly competitive games with Yash. Maybe a little bit stronger showings against Carson. So you kind of get maybe the feeling they were start off a little bit rusty and have kind of gotten more towards their final form, so to speak. So yeah, quick reject from Verdruss, pretty early flirt progress. Unfortunately, it is a white though for 34%.
Banana bread.
And pretty quick with the fake contact. What do you think about that contact, Opie?
That is, it's very risky. I will say that because it's a big conversation. It's relatively easy to have a suspected double agent in, and you're giving away a couple lowlights very early on in the game. And the earlier the lowlights happen, the more valuable they are to the sniper. So this early contact, despite the fact that there's only 3 lowlights, the cost is higher than you might otherwise expect, as well as the fact that we did not actually get that mission. However, we were actually in a conversation without a double agent, so there was a chance that we got some lowered suspicion. But now the second one comes in, and we do have the real this time. So another low light.
Yeah, I am quite happy with that second contact. I mean, conversations were very full, so I think you really can't ask for much better situations like that on Courtyard. Still just, I don't know, feels like pacing could be a little bit better though. Minute
Yeah,
40.
I agree. I think pacing could be better, and I am questioning the efficacy of that first contact. those 3 low lights would not be there without it. And what are we doing from here on out, right? We don't have that much mission progress. We've already got 4 low lights. In fairness, this is a pretty bad party. No one's really been to statues, like, at all. I'm pretty sure. So Verdruss is not getting any help from this party, which just makes things on Courtyard so difficult.
Yeah, I agree. The party is not doing us any favors. One thing I will say, even if it wasn't the ideal fake contact, I think maybe some match strategy can play in when you show your opponent that, hey, I am willing to do fake contacts. So that might mess up their processes a little bit when they're trying to rule out other suspects for later matches.
Yeah, I think that might be. Wow, this is a very early shot from Adafheyesh. This is that's very strange. I'm not sure why this shot was taken, because unless you're like really hard crediting a bug, it does not seem like there should be any reason to shoot here from Adafheyesh's perspective. It might just be like, hey, there's literally no one else doing anything. But if you're shooting on that, then a spy doing nothing might just win. So a little bit weird. A little bit of a weird start for Adafheyesh. Does win the game, does find the correct shot, but it's not the most confidence-inspiring shot.
Yeah, I was honestly.
I think we may have lost you, Hornet. Well, while Hornet tries to figure out what's going on with his microphone, welcome back. Nope, still can't hear Hornet. All right, a little bit of technical difficulties, but that's fine. I will take over for a minute while we let Hornet figure some things out here, and we will have the next game on High Rise with it being 1-1 so far. Adafheyesh now on the spy side. Let's get it started in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And starting us off here, it is the swap version. This is High Rise 3 of 6, and you must have either swap or microphone on. The rest of the missions are your choice, but you have to have one of those more clunky hardtails that usually don't get seen on this venue if it's just open season on what you want to choose. We also have Purloin on over Fingerprint, which is one of the bigger decisions that is also made. Lots of players do like that extra fingerprint for guest frameability, but the Purloin is quite nice and popular as an option for a hardtail that can, you can also frame guests with it as well. 25% on the flirt early on here. Not the best flirt, but that's okay. Adafheyesh taking it fairly slow. We're not going to see any like flirt into center statue rushes at all in this. It's a favorite play of mine, but Adafheyesh taking it definitely slower here. Looks like it actually might be a problem on Discord then for Hornet, but so hopefully we do get him back within a timely fashion. But all right, interesting. We have Adafheyesh going into statues here, picking up the highlight.
Yeah, I'm definitely not giving Discord the smiley face this time.
Yeah, this Discord's being a little bit rude. So picks up the highlight from Verdruss for the half mission progress here. Still only the 25% flirt. I feel like we need to get a little bit moving. Oh, we're gonna go for a bug here, which it's a wrong arm. It looked kind of nice actually. And that was visible, but Rocker in particular does have a walking animation where it's very easy to mistake the regular walking animation for a wrong arm bug. I have shot Rocker on many an occasion for this exact thing, so I'm much more careful about assuming a wrong arm bug from Rocker these days. And because of that fact, I think we might have gotten away with this pretty cleanly. And we're probably just not even going to bother to finish up these statues. We're going to contact, and our ST has come to us, so we have another flirt coming in, and we can just timer flip this out. If we get a green test, though, this could be a problem if we don't hit a green. So we do leave. We do go back into the blue books.
That's actually really good, doing 2 inspects and then never going back. That really would mess with a lot of snipers for accounting missions.
Yeah, if you don't see this bug now, you're never shooting Rocker ever because you know she doesn't have full inspects. The only downside is, of course, it does make that bug more visible as we did pick up that highlight, but once you get away with it, I think we've got this game in the bag. As long as we don't fumble it by not being able to flirt in time, this could be a huge problem, especially as we have to take this long, long walk out and stand right next to Tex,
Oh,
so,
thank God he
so
has a
close.
book.
But it's a 100%, and everything is going to be fine. No bug assumed on Verdruss's end, and Adafheyesh is going to take this to a 2-1 series.
Man, if Tex didn't have a book there, he would have been not still there, for sure.
Yeah, a bit fortunate to hit that green test. Like a white test would have just been tragic there. Something, maybe have to time add, maybe have to run and be really, really obvious about it. Something that Verdruss could probably shoot despite missing the bug. So Adafheyesh saving that one, or being saved perhaps, if you credit Tex having a book with saving them. But now Verdruss, does need to find that spy win, and it's not the most impossible thing on high rise. With the possibility of a soft tail finish from both spies and AIs, snipers are known to misshoot, be uncertain, quite frequently on this venue. We have the same mission setup as we saw last game from Adafheyesh with the swap on and the purloin on.
Mm-hmm.
So let's
I
get.
do believe
Oh,
I'm
you're
back.
back.
Hey,
Okay,
we've
back.
got
All
Hornet
right.
back. Welcome back, Hornet.
Hello, happy to be back. Looks like Discord is finally playing nice again.
Yeah, that's good.
Lovely. All right. Well, we are now on game number 4, the second game of High Rise. Verdruss on the spy as Verdruss here. If you want to catch up to us.
I'm ready when you are.
Awesome. Let's get it going in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Alright, so looks like we let AI just move us into this innocent conversation. Yeah, just kind of giving some time, seeing how this party shapes out. Don't think we really need to spend too much time here, unless we're waiting for maybe waiting for the Amber to walk off. No, we're not waiting for the fingerprintable briefcase, because that is turned off.
Yeah, there are no fingerprints this game.
Wisely going for the flirt progress instead.
Something that I'd really like to see, actually, is earlier on in this game, cheesing a flirt next to Duke. Because you can stand on the left side of Duke here, you will be not terribly visible when you do a cheese flirt. You're going to be standing in profile while Duke covers you. And so Verdruss could have done a cheese flirt there and walked away, and visually it would not be that noticeable. Of course, it's still something that the sniper can see. But I think it would have been nice to get that really, really quick for progress. And we do have a pretty good contact here, just 2 people out. That is more significant on the high rise than it would be on other venues. But at the same time, it does give everyone else who is in conversation that real contact.
Yeah, it's a interesting point. Like, I think, the whole optics of cheese flirting is probably something people don't think about too much. They just think like, hey, either they're gonna see this or they're not. But yeah, thinking of like, hey, it's obstructed, so you're definitely not gonna see this it's a pretty interesting play. Yeah, I think Verdruss was probably quite tempted to go for the reverse drive-by bug in that position, although I'm not sure if it would have taken.
A 2 green here from Verdruss. We could go straight to center inspects if we wanted to. This would be, a very early finish. For if that were the case, just to run off like right now, say shoot me at 145 or something, for just soft tail completion, right? But instead, no, we're going for a purloin, and it is another green test of Verdruss on fire with those.
Yeah, and I think this will effectively have the same effect.
Wait, Toby's not offering to anybody. He doesn't have anybody that's valid to offer to right now. Everyone has a drink or is otherwise unofferable. So this is going to bounce around for a long time.
Yeah, okay, so Smallman joins in on the chain. So yeah, this is kind of one of those situations. Well, I was gonna say, if this had gotten picked up earlier, it might have been one of those situations where the sniper would have held even if they saw like that we're the ones who purloined.
Look, it's still bouncing to the ambassador.
It's bounced around so much though. I think the sniper is essentially gonna be forced to take a shot because anyone could be finishing. But yeah, I do like how Verdruss is just kind of innocently walking out around, not picking up additional mission progress though. So we're not looking like a top suspect here.
SDA does eventually take, but it is so hard to find a shot here. Adafheyesh has to be so certain about this, but yet you can see that from the laser shake, not knowing what's going on, and Verdruss with maybe I can't tell if that was planned on Verdruss's part, because you can notice as the spy here that a bunch of people already have drinks. Like the double agent has a book. Everyone in this front conversation has a drink already. Smallman, Duke have drinks. Like just pretty much everyone has a drink, and the only person who doesn't have a drink has the back to the wall with pearls here, so can't be offered by Toe because there's not enough space. If Verdruss noticed that and went for the green purloin because of that fact, that is an incredible thing to like. That's just really really good party awareness.
Yeah, so Verdruss is already saying no, not intentional. Although I'm sure he would have loved to take credit. And it's kind of funny because it feels like High Rise is one of those venues where that situation comes up more than like anywhere else. Honestly, like I've seen pending swaps, pending purloins that just like take forever because yeah, no one's eligible to take. Um, but I liked your initial suggestion to just go ahead and go center statues because like that's already a really hard shot to take. The way the purloin worked out, like just brutal spy game. So hard for any sniper to find the shot there. Great play from Verdruss.
Yeah, absolutely. And those green tests really helping us out. Although with how long that with how long that purloin took to take, I don't even think that we needed the 2 green flirt. We could have just gotten another one later on. But that does mean that despite Adafheyesh's nice spy game, Verdruss answers right back, and we are 2-2. Although remember, Adafheyesh does have those draw odds, so this is still, if not the best case scenario, this is still relatively comfortable.
Yep, and with that, let's go ahead and get into Aquarium.
All right, Aquarium with Adafheyesh now on the spy side in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Oh, I think we wanted to try to go for some like cheese delegate right at the start of the game, but we did spawn with a drink, so it's not going to work out quite as quickly as we want to. Although we are covered by the shark, delegate happens. We don't go for that cheese. I think because of that, that fact, we pick up this pretty standard bar highlight for it.
Yeah, pretty early bar highlight. Probably never really in a position to do a delegate this early on. Some players will do early delegates, but it kind of puts the sniper in a kind of an easier situation where they don't have as many targets to track.
Yeah, it's like a second contact if they're using highlights for the bar, because they'll know exactly who's been to bar and who could have done it, and they'll narrow the party down pretty accurately.
Yeah, but not too much progress to show here. We really have the minimal flirt progress that we can get. And I was kind of thinking Ada, like after that strong showing from Verdruss, I'm sure Ada would love to answer with his own strong spy game. Normally known for being the lights out sniper, but would love to just make a nice spy play to answer Verdruss's from last round.
In the end of red.
Yep. Perhaps an accidental second contact here while we tried to delegate, and we do delegate. Um, and I think we're just trying to create a little bit of extra activity in the party, but with this delegate, because there was no way it was ever going to actually take with how soon that the timer expired after we sent. But it's always good, in my opinion, just to send that off to cause a little bit of extra activity in the party. One less guest that's just standing in a conversation, not doing anything. It just stresses the sniper's mental load that little bit more.
Yeah, and I think there might be one other possibility because like it looked like Ada was perfectly positioned for that drive-by bug. That first contact would have distracted from it, but didn't really get to pull it off. So I wonder if maybe a little action prio happened in that case as well.
Yeah, that sounds correct. It is sometimes pretty annoying to accidentally be doing this second contact when you mean to be bugging, but that is actually generally speaking a mistiming on the spy's part, or maybe perhaps not being aware that you do need to move over from the fake contact when the ambassador comes in range, because the game will never switch your action that you're on for you. It'll just give you options for a new action when they become available, and you have to scroll over to them yourself.
Yeah, and a little surprised here. Like Ada, not the best pacing so far. Kind of went for a quick window visit. I thought that might have been for the intention of doing a time ad, but we leave without doing the time ad.
Wow.
And wow, gets shot for a flirt. What did Verdruss see here?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure we had this highlight stick the entire game, which is a little bit annoying if you're a Adafheyesh. You're like, I got a highlight for bar, and then that stuck for the entire game. That's never what you want to be seeing when your opponent's doing bar highlights. But I guess this is just the aggression on the flirting. I'm not sure, honestly.
Yeah, it kind of could have been a combination of factors. I mean, I think we can only really speculate. So, part of it is if we just saw something that looked like a delegate, maybe, something with the two contacts, or yeah, I mean, could just be purely behavioral, but yeah, definitely a bit of a statement shot shooting just for the two simple soft tells.
Yeah, it's I think perhaps if you are assuming Adafheyesh might have gotten a bug somewhere, it makes a bit more sense. As we were nearby the ambassador in a couple moments here and there. However, that would still be one mission too few. Um, so yeah, I'm not exactly sure what prompted this shot. We're seeing quite a few of these just like weirdly early shots from our snipers today, and I'm not sure what that's indicating. If spies like maybe it would start to be a good idea for these spies to slow down the early game, let other suspects become the tunnels, and then do all of your missions if this is the kind of thing that's happening, right?
Yeah, definitely a fair point. But yeah, with that, let's go ahead and get into the next round.
Yeah, Verdruss now up 3-2. It does need it to complete the Street of Aquarium by winning on the spy side if they want to take a actual real lead. 3-2. It's not a real lead. It's not a real lead until it's two games. But yeah, Verdruss on the spy side playing as Plane Twin in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and I kind of get the point of maybe yeah, I mean the snipers seem a little maybe a little trigger happy is a way to put it. So maybe that is a sign to just go ahead and slow the pace down a little bit and maybe just let someone else take a bullet for you instead.
I would actually like to see like a time ad, or maybe time ad or two during one of these games, because the problem that we see, if you're trying to take it slow, is of course pacing. Pacing always becomes such a problem if you don't have a good idea of what you're going to do to rush at the end of the game. But a time ad can alleviate that and really put the screws to the sniper if they're not paying attention.
Oh yeah, I definitely love the time ad, or I love the action of time adding and just the effect that it can have on a game. And it's kind of funny because like Aquarium, I feel like it's one of those venues where you just don't see people time ad that often, and Nebula is actually quite notorious for doing lots of time ads on this venue. I think it's worked out quite well for him, so probably would work out quite well for the rest of us as well.
Honestly, I think that time ad is underutilized generally. Wow, we have a direct take from Verdruss here off the bar. That's very interesting. Let's see how Adafheyesh reacts to this, because Adafheyesh did immediately go and kind of turn the laser onto a Verdruss here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, speaking of things that don't happen quite often, we direct Purloin as our first mission, so um, I don't know, like part of me likes it, part of me doesn't. Like, the only thing I don't like is like now the sniper only has a few people he needs to focus on, but it's like it's such a mind game when you direct Purloin because they're always thinking like there's no way he just direct took, right, like, so he's staring much harder at the other suspects right now.
Yeah, I mean, when you're thinking about it without the mind games in mind, it is just kind of worse to be direct purloining versus delegating, because when you direct, unless you're cheesing it somehow, you are pretty much guaranteed to be one of the sniper's suspects. Whereas if you delegate, you could fly under the radar, you could be missed. So it is a pretty significant downside to be more or less guaranteed to still be in the suspect list when you do this, especially as the first mission. But that is where, as you mentioned, those mind games come into play of maybe the sniper doesn't think that the spy would actually do this.
Yeah, and honestly, looking at this party, I'm wondering if this was maybe intentional, just based off of
Oh
like who
wow.
the. Oh, and Alice takes a bullet.
Okay,
Yeah,
where is this coming from?
but I was just noticing, like, only like not that many people are low lit, for a direct purloin. So like, I wonder if Verdruss just kind of knew that, like, maybe he's just not tracking the purloins that closely. Because I mean, he actually didn't even pick up a highlight for it.
Mm.
You would expect this to be narrowed down to a pretty small group unless there was like a huge rush of bar visitors, but I don't think that was the case.
Yeah. Let's see. Ponytail here. So it looks like she gets shot after a path past the ambassador. The main thing that I'm a bit worried about is that she never actually got a drink. So she wasn't in the list, I think, but like that's a small thing that like sometimes snipers will shortcut. Anyone who's at bar could have gotten it just to be safe, which seems fine. Um, the second thing though that does like could delay this shot is the fact that Ponytail here does not have real contact. This is not something because Smallman's not in this conversation here. In fact, no one has a real contact. This is actually a big miss from Adafheyesh, I think. This is the biggest miss of the game. Not just like the Purloin, and shooting for an assumed bug is fine, but the fact that Adafheyesh does not notice here that no one has a real contact, that could have saved the game.
Yeah, and just going back a little bit, it looks like initially there were 6 people that potentially could have sent us. I
Yeah.
think you mentioned Alice didn't actually take the drink.
Yeah, it was
But we
technically
were-
Wheels, I think, that was being framed. He was the only one there that actually had taken a drink.
Yeah, and Wheels had actually just left the convo. We were in a position where I think a sniper could have thought that Alice was sending us. I mean, you have to look really
Yeah.
closely, but it looks like she would have sent Disney instead. But
Yeah.
I'm sure no sniper's staring the convo down that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just with the potential that she could have sent, that might have been enough for Ada to take that shot.
Yeah, in general, I think this is a very understandable shot if it were not for that big miss of no one having a real contact.
Yeah.
And so that's the mistake that loses Ada this game. And speaking of Verdruss now up in the set, 4-2, I believe now. And that's not that comfortable. Of course, again, Adafheyesh still has those draw odds, so only needs the one sweep in return to bring things back to a positive result for Adafheyesh himself. But it is not the best place to be.
Yeah, and I mean, Verdruss just keeping up the really good spy plays. I mean, I really liked just the all-around play on high rise, and then yeah, just a direct purloin into a win. I mean, you gotta love that. So yeah, with that, let's go ahead and get into Veranda.
Yep, Adafheyesh on Veranda with playing as Duke here in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, so definitely, if Ada wasn't feeling the pressure before, he definitely is now. Would love to get a spy win on Veranda. It's so hard to get spy wins on Veranda though. I mean, like you're already having to get 5 missions past the sniper. Like it feels like the sniper has a pretty good view on everything. So I mean, what are you planning here if you're Ada?
I mean, the sniper does have a good view in a lot of things. However, it's quite busy, and the angle is low, so it can, get very, very visually cluttered in a lot of scenarios where guests are just piling up. And of course, you can't see really the entire venue at once, not with clarity anyway. So, on Veranda, you really have to make use of that kind of tearing away of the sniper's attention and how difficult it can be to see things sometimes, and therefore the sniper must look even closer at those things. And whether or not you're there, you can either use that extra scrutiny that they have to spend to do something elsewhere, or you can get something done within all that clutter.
And this is quite unfortunate because Verdruss was very tunneled in that left side of the venue, and I feel like as soon as he zoomed out is when we did that microfilm animation. So that very well could have been seen in the corner of his eye. But the fact that we're not a highlight yet means that we might be okay for now, but a little bit worried for Adafheyesh.
Yeah, seems okay for now. We did pick up that first half of the microfilm, and I would love to see us go and just sit next to our ST and try to get the second half because the ambassador is walking away. Yeah, Adafheyesh on the move now. We unfortunately I think this is adhering to pathing rules too much. Like I feel like there was no reason to adhere to pathing rules that strictly when you were in the back of Veranda and you're not against a pathing sniper. There's just force your way through. And we do take a second microphone. We are behind a pillar, very nicely placed for the sniper angle.
Yeah, speaking of pathing rules, I wonder if we were obligated to take that briefcase before the book. I don't know if it really matters, but yeah, it's just something that I'm kind of wondering about. Regardless, though, we do get the microfilm, and yeah, was that a red flirt or
No, she just left.
Okay, ST build on us. I see.
Yeah, and I think this is a point where I would love to see a time ad, maybe even two. We're pretty far behind on the clock, but it's not so low on time that the sniper is going to be hyper aware of any time added. So if we can get a green time ad in right now, that's going to relieve us quite a bit, I think.
Yeah, I do think this is probably one of the best venues to get away with time ads because really there's so many things to look at that sometimes the sniper will just let you get away with time ads because a lot of times it doesn't even have a huge effect, so they just kind of let it happen. And yeah, Adafheyesh agrees, goes ahead and does take that time ad. Um, Probably pretty safe, probably got away with it, but even with that extra 45 seconds, we have quite a lot to do.
Yeah, and we're joining this just innocent conversation. I can't imagine that that is going to be very useful here for Adafheyesh. Maybe we're trying to go for this purloin as Toby has walked all the way over here, and we are, on the right. We're splitting attention with the ambassador on the left side. Although the ambassador is not in that much danger, we do end up taking this purloin. We walk away. The laser did seem to be on the left side, watching things over here with some statue visitors. The ambassador. So we might have gotten away with that, and if we did, be very, very good for us despite the low time.
Yeah, that felt quite clean. Like really good positioning and yeah, just really good timing all around and
Ooh,
hitting the
Toby does
clutch
come back
green.
to us though.
Yeah, Toby does come back, but the bliss has already been taken, so I think we're okay. And yeah, when you got the transfer and the purloin behind, past the sniper, I think you're in a good position to finish, but we do need to hurry up and get some soft tells.
And this is not hurrying up. This is an empty briefcase. We need to get moving. We need to take a contact. We don't have time to be spending walking all the way over here with this ambassador.
Yeah, contact is essentially forced. I think we hit the seduce, and based off of timing, yeah, we might just have to crash bug or
And in the
swap
red.
or something like that.
Oh, bug, bug, bug. Oh, come on, Adafheyesh, you have to take this. Because if Adafheyesh triggers this bug and then walks with the ambassador, it will be a wrong arm bug away from the sniper. Instead, we're going to try to do this in conversation, I suppose. There it is. But we do just get shot. Nicely done from Verdruss to see that coming.
Yeah, I do like the play from Adafheyesh. Like that did seem like a pretty nice, crowded situation to get the bug in. I just think maybe just based off of the timing, um, yeah, just I don't know. I think Verdruss just had his eye on him and was looking for a finish.
Yeah, so if we scroll back just a little bit here in this game to take a look at when the ambassador was passing by us, it's a little bit difficult to execute because this is Taft and Taft is the fastest character in the game, but Taft is going to curl in towards the right. So it's going to curl in towards us, so that should give us the range we need to make this bug happen. So if we trigger it while Taft is about at angle with Rocker here, and then turn around and walk the other direction, the arm will be facing away from the sniper for the majority of the animation, and I think that would be potentially very clean. It is, obviously not easy to execute, but this is a very, very good opportunity, especially with as low of a time as Adafheyesh had here.
Yep, and yeah, I mean Verdruss managing to hold the lead against like an absolute juggernaut in Adafheyesh. So let's see if he can keep it up in the next round.
Yeah, Verdruss now on the spy side, and let's see, what is Verdruss at right now? 5 wins. Putting this one away would lock up the draw and just need one more to get out first in the group. Of course, it is difficult. It is a Adafheyesh sniper on veranda. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and I don't know, like if I mean that last round was, I mean it felt like Adafheyesh played great, like did all the right things, but still ended up getting shot in the end anyways, because Veranda is hard to win as spy. Um, if I'm Verdruss, I'm probably kind of thinking along the same things, like I might not win here, but how can I put as much mental pressure on the sniper as possible?
Yeah, I mean that is, we always talk about like adding time uh in just playing a really long game to tire them out, to give them that mental pressure, especially when already down in the set. So that is something that it could be a match play moment for Verdruss here.
Yeah, time ad would definitely be on my list of priorities. Yeah, so pretty standard game, and I think yeah, Verdruss has no reason to rush. He's like, if I just play slow, civ shot's always a possibility. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean you
especially
got
with
to.
how Adafheyesh has been shooting in this set so far. We've seen quite a few jumpy shots that we don't usually see out of Adafheyesh. It's something that I think that is maybe just jumpy today for whatever reason.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, you got to kind of put yourself in a situation to give yourself the most avenues to win, and I think Verdruss is well aware of that. So yeah, I kind of expect a pretty slow-paced game. No need to really try to force things at the moment.
A couple of fingerprints put down by the ambassador here. We will go for one of them immediately as the ambassador walks over to the center of the venue. We're gonna definitely be clocked getting this fingerprint. No cheese. Put it down. As we did rush for it. Good
Yeah,
stop.
and I'm a pretty big fan of the strategy. Like if they leave fingerprints next to you, I think like always just go for them. I mean, you got to get those. You got to get maybe an inspect too, and just give yourself avenues to win, because you definitely don't want to try to force yourself down a narrow path that just might not be open later on in the match.
Yeah, for sure. Not too many prints laid down in the venue yet, though, for Verdruss. Just the one that we got, the one in the statues, which we will not be able to see if it's being smudged at all. So that's going to be, it's always a little bit of a downside on Veranda when you can't tell if something that you want later is going to be smudged.
Yeah, and I'm surprised to see Verdruss walking away with this book. Like the location that he was going to made me think that he wanted to do an animation transfer, which as we know, kind of takes a while when you're leaving the bookcase, coming back, and then you have to go to the other one. Instead, maybe just doing some kind of innocent AI looking actions instead, just trying to blend in a little bit.
Oh, we go for a bug
Oh,
here. It
very
does
nice reverse
take.
drive-by. Perfect angle on that. I really don't think that hand was visible to the sniper.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit lucky because that doesn't take if Taft goes literally anywhere else but our conversation. But of course, sometimes you can tell. Oh, we're gonna go in for a direct microfilm here into red. We don't wait very long. Does Adafheyesh notice? There's also a fingerprint on green, but we can't path there directly. That would be an etiquette break.
Yeah, Verdruss feeling quite brave, like immediately after getting bugged, just going straight for the direct transfer
Is it
against.
a print swap, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. Like if we're not even a highlight right now, yeah, I just feel like there's so many options. Like surely we can find another print. Okay. So at the very
Well,
least, we have our eyes on that
I mean,
statue.
we should if we can contact, we probably should at the very least here.
Oh,
But double agent
absolutely.
is out of conversation, so that might be something that Verdruss is looking at and saying, "Okay, I gotta bail out to some other plan here." Unfortunately, Wheels takes our briefcase, so we can't do that. We're gonna be running low on time. We're gonna have to go for this Prince swap plan. I think that's the only way we can actually get these missions done. But it's gonna be so obvious, especially with only 10 seconds left on the clock, and there's gonna be overtime. I think Adafheyesh is going to be able to save this potentially here. White swap. Adafheyesh sees it, takes the shot, and all this work that Verdruss did in this game just burned up in the low time.
Yeah, tragic ending. Like Wheels with the interference, like almost as if like Adafheyesh just set him in there to just be like, no, you're not getting this. You're not getting this print within regulation time. Um, Yeah, I mean it's funny like the way Veranda happens, because like you feel like both of these players were just playing lights out on the spy side, and just yeah, just the way things work out, just man, the sniper still was able to get there. Um, wow, yeah, that was quite the round.
Yeah, and now we are on to pub, our 4 of 7 variant. To be a little bit unique about it. Adafheyesh now on the spy side, still needing some way back into this match. Needs to find some spy wins here. Um, or else is not going to get out first in the group like everybody predicted. Adafheyesh was just everyone's prediction for first in the group, and now that's being called into question for sure by Verdruss here. So let's see if Adafheyesh can bring it back, or if Verdruss is going to hold on to this lead all the way down to the wire. In 3, 2, 1, play now.
Yeah, I mean I still just can't get over that last round, and like the DA was just not playing nice like for the longest time ever. So it really makes you wonder what would have happened if could have just had a more like standard contact game. And yeah, quite an early bar rush. Not quite sure how that will play in. Looks like we want to get it on this window. Maybe going for an early time ad.
That'll be interesting. Early timeout here on our pub 4 of 7. Pub three of 7 has been the most standard setup for pub that we've had for a while now. It does have a lot less time on it, only 2:45 as opposed to 3:45, so a whole minute less. And that's has caused people to feel like they need to rush a bit more on pub because of that low time. But this one has that extra minute on the clock to work with, so not necessarily needing the time ad.
Yeah, so we got that early flirt progress. Then we just kind of went and just kind of hung out with the DA for a little bit. I'm kind of wondering what Adafheyesh is planning here. We're just kind of chilling by the ambassador. Our ST is finally settled, so we could go finish that up if we wanted to. No, instead going for fingerprints. Okay, so maybe
We
that
did
was
pick
the
up the
plan.
time ad as well.
Oh, we did pick up the time med. Okay, I thought that was just an innocent watch check. So that, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I feel like with the things that were going on, I really doubt Verdruss was looking at the clock. So that might have just been a clean time ad, and that can be pretty huge on a venue like pub.
Yeah, for sure. Basically reset the clock almost back to where it started. But except, this time we have some mission progress and some suspects that are not us in this party.
Yeah, and yeah, with the fingerprint strategy, that's like probably one of the least used options on pub. Like everything else, you can really get
In the red.
very quick progress, but fingerprint and
It's a
seduce are
very
the
nice contact.
yeah, really nice contact for pub. Like yeah, you really can't ask for much better than that.
Unfortunately, it does knock out RST, who is now one of the statue visitors of this game.
Yeah,
And speaking of statue visitors, do we have any others? I assume that Verdruss would be highlighting for statue visits. Or maybe
yeah,
they're highlighting for bar.
yeah. I mean, it seems like a lot of people have been inside the bar, but not really at the statues. And I think we really got our eyes on this fingerprint right now. I think like yeah, fingerprints are very likely to fly under the radar on a venue like this, where people usually aren't. They're usually just don't have time to chase after them.
Yeah, and Ponytail does walk away from the without getting a drink, so this is going to be a clean fingerprint, not a difficult. So this will be nice and easy to get. We do pick up the highlight for it, which means I think we are doing highlights for bar. It appears because as Queen does not pick up a highlight for going to statue.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, we kind of go all the way back to this back conversation. I'm not sure why, because we
Oh
already
wow, we
have.
fend
Oh, we
immediately.
we went for the media delegate. Okay. That's actually a pretty solid delegate. I mean, we are obviously gonna be narrowed down for it.
So something I did just realize, despite the very good contact earlier, it was a fake, unfortunately for us. So that's not something that we actually have going for us. And the double agent is going for a briefcase right now, which is not what we want to see.
Yeah, even though our progress isn't great, I think we have plenty of opportunity to catch back up.
There goes
So
the
we,
list. How does Verdruss react?
yeah, no
Double agent
reaction.
goes inside.
Yeah, that would really be a shame if we couldn't at least get off a contact. So we're, are we going for another time ad? I think maybe, 30 seconds. Like we really just don't have time right now. Like, yeah, we would love for the DA to just kind of come back out and give us this mission, but
Oh, the
it's like we,
flirt
we
feels so obvious.
pretty much have to crash bug or something.
The double agent Uh, the double agent was not kind to Verdruss last game, and this time Adafheyesh is the one under the double agent's watchful eye, not able to do anything. We go for this bug. We might try to dance, but I do not think this is going to work. Adafheyesh getting shot here, and now is in a scenario where they need to win every single game from here on out to secure that first place spot out of the groups.
Yeah, tough round. Yeah, and I mean, you kind of wonder like where did that all go wrong? Because it felt like with the early fingerprint completion, we were just kind of cruising, and like I think we even like got about as much away with a purloin as you can really hope for on a venue like this. Um, yeah, I mean sometimes just like those smaller missions like contact, like they can just get away from you, and I guess yeah, sometimes you really just got to move in, get an inspect, and just do something to work your way back into it.
Yeah, unkind double agents for both spies, once on veranda, once on pub, but that does mean that Verdruss is on match point and only requires one win to complete the upset to get first in the group. So we'll see how things proceed here. Can Verdruss find it here right now, or will we need to go on to our final venue to decide? In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and I mean, like obviously, Verdruss quite a good player, but I don't think anyone thought that we were going to be in a situation like this where Adafheyesh is the one that's kind of needing a miracle to get back into this. Um, wow, very crowded window pad early on, but quite worth it though with that 51% flirt progress. What really hurt Ada that last round, I think, is just falling behind on that flirt just really took away a lot of the finishing options.
Yeah, it definitely did not help. We are with the double agent, but it wouldn't be that good of a contact. It would knock quite a few people out, so nothing here for Adafheyesh. Or
Yeah,
rather
but
for Verdruss, sorry.
these are filling up quite nicely and actually putting us almost in a perfect situation for a contact.
There it
And yeah,
is.
Verdruss does agree. Goes ahead and takes it. Only knocks out one guest.
Very similar to Adafheyesh's contact from last game, as it only knocked out one guest, except for the fact that Verdruss actually got the real contact.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge factor. And honestly, how this flirt plays out is going to be a huge factor as well.
Oh,
Interesting
very interesting.
fake banana bread.
I
Yeah,
kind of like it as we know the double agent moved to a different conversation, and at the time we triggered that contact, had it been agreed, we would not have gotten any more lowlights for it.
yeah, fairly good point. And also, yeah, usually when you see the two fake contacts, especially when they look very intentional like that one, you think, okay, the second one was real, right? So maybe not getting focused as much as we would have previously.
Yeah, it is more frequently true that the second one is real, because if the first one were real, the spy would have to be thinking about giving, the other characters in the party the contact, and spies do miss that sometimes. Spies rarely miss getting their own contact, uh, comparatively. They will rarely uh, actively fake, but they'll more often miss that second contact if it's fake.
Yeah, and Verdruss kind of taking an interesting choice, like moving all the way to the back of the bar to take this purloin, and it's kind of at the moment where we're not going to be among very many bar visitors, so this kind of gives us quite a narrow path to completion. And yeah, unfortunately, hits white on the second flirt. So even if we do get this purloin off, we still have to finish up two more missions on top of that. Yeah, goes ahead and delegates to the ST, and probably not a bad time to do it as the bar filled up a little bit with pearls and small man. Still have to fit in one more mission. So I would say, I don't know, maybe a good time for a trip to the statues.
Yeah, very well could be. Statues are pretty hard to avoid on this venue. We do bump against the bar a little bit, but I don't think it was that visible. The big problem that we have now, though, is we only have 40 seconds left. Adafheyesh had that time, that had that early print to work with.
Oh no,
We
and the
do not
purloin
have
didn't go
anything
off.
like that. And no, the purloin indeed does not go off. Verdruss going to need something here in the end of this game. Takes it directly for ourselves. Adafheyesh, thinking about it, we are looking like the top suspect here. 20 seconds left, though. We need something else as well. Oh, we're going to go for this bug.
Nice play from Verdruss, because honestly, I think that was like actually the only option to finish with that drink still in hand. Um,
Yeah, I think that's actually very. So the point is actually, to me, not the wrong arm bug. It is the attempt to add getting a drink bug, right? And if you can get a drink bug, maybe that actually does work. Maybe Adafheyesh doesn't perceive that, and because it's just such a rare thing to see. Because it is that frame perfect trick that only really Fabsies, I think, can pull off consistently in any sense. Um, but good attempt from Verdruss, although Adafheyesh holding on, but it all comes down to Tayan. Adafheyesh needs both of these games. Verdruss just needs one.
yeah, definitely a scary situation to be in, like when Taeyeon is the venue, because already quite hard to play in general. Um, with that, let's go ahead and get into the first round of Taeyeon.
All right, Adafheyesh on the spy side in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right, so yeah, starting things off as Alice, must win on Taeyeon. Um, luckily our ST settles right next to us, so already about as good of a start as you could really want here. And we hit it for the 51% flirt.
This is going to be a fake contact. However, it's a pretty good contact. Only one person out. Smallman does leave right before the contact, but it's hard to tell from the sniper side if something is a split or if it's not. So, and especially with Smallman, I think it's safer to keep him in.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Tan is kind of funny because it's one of those venues where like you don't really have to move around that much. You can actually complete quite a lot just from where Adafheyesh is right now.
I have
Especially if,
seen. Sorry, continue.
oh yeah, I was gonna say like especially if the ambassador passed by us at some point. We're actually in a pretty prime location to bug.
Yeah, I have seen Tayan games where the spy did not move once and completed missions.
Yeah, and the ambassador, already being quite friendly and leaving some fingerprints that I'm sure will be there for quite some time. So options are definitely there. I'm sure Adafheyesh is pretty well aware.
No Purloin here. It would be a little bit too exposed with both Shoji on the right side of the venue. Pretty. I feel like this is a little bit bold to be flirting like this when Verdruss has been apparently catching these kind of behavioral tells throughout the set.
Yeah, pretty valid point. I mean, if you're ever flirt pairing, then like obviously you just put that pair together if you didn't have it already. And yeah, unfortunately, we will have to get in conversation with General at least one more time because that was in fact a white flirt. Going for the book, that's especially with no cover on this side, kind of a bold option to go for on Tan.
Well, the interesting thing about microfilm, and animation microfilm in particular, when both Shoji are on the right, is that it's actually a better option than it would seem because, like, look at a Verdruss's sniper camera right now. This is very typical of a sniper camera when both Shoji are on the right side. Is taking this far left angle so you can have this more open, give more depth of field to the party. Not have this just tunnel that you're looking at filled with people. You have more of that horizontal space that you're using. Wow, he tried for that bug. That was a really nice attempt, but unfortunately, it does not land for Adafheyesh. And we only have a minute left in this game. We only have the flirt. But yeah, back to that point about the microfilm is that oftentimes we're actually off screen. No, never mind. I don't have time for that. We have a Purloin, and this could be it. Verdruss taking the shot. 7 points for Verdruss, and it's going to be one last game as a victory lap potentially for Verdruss. If Verdruss makes this 8-4, that would be, I think, winning alone already impressive against Adafheyesh, making that upset happen. But having an 8-4 scoreline would really be a statement.
Yeah, I mean, just huge result for Verdruss. Like, I don't think, I mean, not saying anything bad about Verdruss, but I don't think anyone really saw this coming. Yeah, I mean, just cleaning it up and like, yeah, still one round to go. And I mean, yeah, I mean, Adafheyesh, like, gotta just be feeling a little frustrated because it's not like he's really playing bad, but just, it just kind of feels like one of those sets where just things are not going right. And Verdruss just playing lights out right now. I mean, just doing everything he needed to do to put himself in a position to win. Yeah, I mean, I love it. I love seeing strong showings like this, and yeah, I mean, I think yeah, puts him up first seed going into the bracket. So gonna be really excited to see how he plays moving forward.
Yeah, and I will say that I do think that Adafheyesh's spy is not quite where it could be today. It hasn't been bad, but I've seen so much better out of Adafheyesh that that is part of where it is. And of course, we did talk about a little bit of these hasty shots earlier on in the set could be one of the things that is costing Adafheyesh right now, but of course, both these players are still getting out of groups. This is not an elimination match for either of them. They will have their chance to be Summer Cup finalists regardless of where they are in the bracket. But that seeding does help Verdruss out. Let's get it going. See if Verdruss can make this a real big statement or if Adafheyesh is going to keep this to a modest 7-5 score line. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, honestly, like really, we've seen almost nothing but good spy games from Verdruss so far. So I'm sure he would be happy to continue that trend, and Tayan, pretty good venue to keep that going. Unfortunately, we actually don't get flirt progress. I think we might have been a little too far away from the ST, so just kind of get in the conversation circle and hopefully they make their way towards us, which is exactly what happens. Uh, Yeah, picking up that early 51% flirt, actually pretty similar to how Adafheyesh started off the last round.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
d-
Verdruss has just been on point with these green tests, in particular in this set. That's been one of the big assets, I think. These two flirts have been coming through really frequently. We've been hitting all these greens on very important purloins, like especially look at that bug. That was a nicely executed bug. It is something that is relatively standard for TN, so Adafheyesh might have credited that regardless. Even without the highlight, sometimes you have to credit so many people with bug on TN that you don't even bother highlighting for it anymore. But yeah, that was a nice bug.
yeah, that was quite nice. Almost, I don't know. I wonder if that was intended to be a wrong arm, because I guess I can't quite see like what that looked like from the sniper's angle. But I don't know. It almost looked like he wanted it to be on the other side, but I could be completely off on that.
All right, bug seduce done, pretty nice progress. Although on TN that bug maybe worth a little bit less just because of how frequent it is and how ready the sniper is to credit. Still, it's a good spot to be in.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit less, just because like most, like many guests are gonna have bug credit, but like honestly, you'll always take a bug when you can go in, especially when you're not immediately shot for it. So things are looking good. We're gonna get this. Well,
Ooh.
I was gonna say we were going to get this contact, but Wheels gonna help out the ambassador with his briefcase instead.
Yeah, the SDA joins our conversation to Wheels cannot rejoin us, so we're gonna have to see Wheels do something else right now. And it would just be really emblematic of this set to have the double agent just screw Verdruss over in this victory lap one last time.
Yeah, but I don't know, with the way that Verdruss has kind of been on fire with the green test, I
Okay,
feel like a
everything's
green
fine.
purloin is incoming.
Everything is fine. We do have the contact potentially. It is a white test this time with
And
Toby
the
staying
red.
behind us, which is a little bit awkward. Which means it's really hard to take this purloin, especially with the visibility on Toby. He's right out front. He's got a lot of that horizontal like visual real estate going on, so it's going to be very noticeable this reject for the sniper. Definitely something that you don't want to take.
Yeah, and it's a little unfortunate. Like I hate when you start a contact like as soon as you get offered, because like Toby can be offering you for a very uncomfortable amount of time, and sometimes you just want him to just hurry up and go away so you don't get shot for being offered too long. But actually, as it turns out, we are gonna go for the purloin after all.
It is a white test though this time. Verdruss on fire this entire set right up until the last moment, and Adafheyesh sees it, keeps to that 7-5 despite the missed bug. And congratulations though to Verdruss. What a lovely set to take advantage of Adafheyesh's weaknesses on the day, and moving on as first seed.
Yeah, I mean that can end up being pretty huge. I mean, the stakes I guess maybe aren't that big because both players actually do get to continue into the brackets, but yeah, sometimes that seed can make all the difference. I mean, you could have faced an absolute killer and now you get a slightly easier match. So yeah, I mean sometimes just having like a good path can just be huge in bracket tournaments like this.
Yeah, it sure can be the difference between, going out in round of 16 versus making it all the way to the finals can just be as simple as who you face in each of those rounds. If you face the person who's going to win the whole thing in the round of 16, you're probably going to go out in the round of 16. Whereas if you meet them in the finals, it's a much different story.
But yeah, I mean honestly it felt like a pretty great set from both players. Lots of great plays were made. Yeah, sometimes the party just wasn't playing nice, but I think that kind of happened to both players. So yeah, I mean, like really just came down to just Verdruss just playing like an absolute champ today. So good game to them, and yeah, let's go ahead and move on.